Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. Today I'd like to offer 3 things you need to know to better learn English, improving your listening comprehension and your speaking ability. 3 important things we're going to share today. 2 of them are things you should avoid. And the third thing is something you should embrace, something you should include in your daily practice. So let's get started. What's the problem? Well, it's simple. We have taken on this gigantic task of learning a second language or a third or a fourth language. And language learning takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. There is considerable cost to us to learn a language like English. What we don't want to do is spin our wheels. Now that's an expression, and you can see what it means if you see a vehicle like a car and the wheels are spinning but it's not moving. That allows you to understand this expression. We don't want to spin our wheels and make no progress. We don't want to put a lot of effort into this and get nothing in return. Really what you're talking about here is efficiency. If you're going to put your time into this task of learning English, you want some return on your investment. You want some benefit for every hour you put into this. The problem is we all went to school, and in many, if not most schools, they didn't really teach us how the human brain works. No, they taught us other things, but how the brain works, that never really came up in any of the schools I went to. For the most part, they also don't teach us how to learn. They don't teach us how we should learn. A lot of times, the advice we are given about how to learn something is actually bad advice. In secondary school, university, and graduate education, it is common for students to cram. That is, put long hours into learning the material, studying the material, reviewing the material just before the test, so that the following morning when the test is given, they can regurgitate the information in their head and get a passing grade or a good grade. Now, the trouble with cramming is it actually does work if your goal is to perform better on the test. The problem is performance on a test correlates very poorly with long-term learning. So if you use a cramming type technique, you're not going to learn very much. So how does cramming come in to comprehensible input? If somebody listens to content and while they're listening to the content, they're making a list of vocabulary, and then afterward they review that vocabulary repeatedly and cram that information into their head, it's not going to stick. The problem with that behavior I just described is twofold. One is the cramming doesn't work, and the other is our second point, that is taking notes. If you take notes during the learning activity, you are trying to multitask. Well, multitask is much talked about in the 21st century, and some people take great pride in multitasking. However, studies show that humans are not good at multitasking. So if you are listening to content and taking notes, you have divided your attention and you won't learn the material nearly as well. This is something someone taught me early on in my education, is ideally don't take notes. Listen to the information, follow the story, try to understand what is being said. Don't avert your attention to the purpose of writing notes. So we have now covered 2 things you don't want to do. You don't want to try to cram information by reviewing it intensively, trying to memorize it, and you don't want to take notes during the absorption of the content. Both of those will be very ineffective at creating long-term memory that you can recall. The third piece of advice here is the most effective way to get more efficient learning. This has been shown in laboratory experiments. It has been shown in real practice. And this technique is called spacing. If you watch a video or listen to a podcast, it is tempting, if you didn't understand it, to immediately go back and play it again and try to get more out of it the second time. Well, you do want to go back and repeat, because repetition is a powerful tool that we can use to learn language, but you don't want to do it immediately. Studies have shown if you can space out your review of the same material a long time, you can improve your long-term learning and your ability to recall that information sometimes up to 3 times. Now, who would not want a 300% improvement? So then the question becomes, how long do you space it out? There's no specific rule. We do know that if the space is very short, there's no benefit. So if you review something and then 30 minutes later review it again, that's not spacing. When I do it, I think of a week or many weeks, ideally, certainly days apart. When I learned Spanish, I found that if I watched a video or listened to a podcast and did not understand everything, I would just revisit that weeks later. When I did revisit that content, I found it to be fresh and more interesting. And on that review, I picked up much more. I specifically avoided playing the same content immediately afterward, because studies have shown that doesn't provide much benefit. Now that runs contrary to what a lot of us were taught in school. In school, a lot of times we are taught to block information, that is, learn something very specific until we understand it. If someone is taking a tennis lesson, they might work on their serve on one day. Nothing but serve, nothing but serve. And then on another day, they might work on their backhand or their forehand. That kind of blocking is common in learning situations, but it has been shown to be less efficient. What we want to embrace is spacing the input so that our brain will absorb it more efficiently. And I think in terms of days, a week, or many weeks of spacing before I re-review that information. So where do I get this information? Is this just a collection of my opinions that I am sharing with you? No, I don't do that. This comes out of the work of Professor Robert Bjork and his colleagues at UCLA. The field of study is cognitive psychology, and that is the study of learning, remembering, and forgetting. And their work is very well known in the field of cognitive psychology, but a lot of language learners haven't gotten the message about their findings. And these findings from their work can make our experience learning languages much more efficient. The advice I just gave in this video, I used in my studies of Spanish over a period of several years. I honestly believe that these 3 key features of my learning program added a lot to my efficiency. So that's the end of this episode. I invite comments below, and I hope you join us in future videos. See you soon.